Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. We fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom. And to keep
Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of Cigars and Sea Stories. And I am your host, Bennett Tanton, and today we sit down with Ricoh Danielson. He is the owner of Fortitude Tech LLc. He is a serial entrepreneur, an author. He's got a new book that just came out that we'll talk about on the episode. Full disclosure, though, I forgot to hit record, and this episode starts at about 20 seconds into the interview. So I apologize for that, and help me welcome Ricoh Danielson.
I was like, will I ever go to war when I was a young boy? And he's like, well, if you do, you better fucking wear like a badge of honor. And now you fast forward, I wish I would have had these conversations, because I'm almost certain that I stood in the exact same area that my father stood in when he invaded Kuwait and I invaded Iraq. So just like that surrealism, if you will. It was pretty legendary. So we go to Iraq, we go to my first unit, go over there, cross the berm for the invasion. We were right behind Marine Expeditionary 1, I believe it is.
Mm-hmm.
And, they took Baghdad, and we were trucking our way all the way up from Najaf all the way to, we did our final stop in Ramadi. And Ramadi was a good fighting grounds. Unfortunately, I lost a dear friend of mine and 3 other friends of mine. And then came home. Some things happened. I got medically retired in 2008. Not only did I did active duty, I did a little bit of nasty girl time, National Guard time.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a narcotics interdiction then. That was a really cool gig. And 2008, I got this beautiful letter from the VA and the Army. They're like, hey, you're fucked. You're retired. Congratulations. And I kind of took it weird, At first, my other friends were like, hey, man, you're retired now. Good job. And I was like, man, this means I'm damaged goods. So kind of went down that rabbit hole, really negative, if you will, negative light. And then I found myself back overseas with some very private security companies providing diplomatic protection. And it was real fun. It was good stuff, good training. Got to work with different various special operations groups. And then in 2014, I did my last go around. I cut it really, really close. We went out with some guys, and unfortunately they didn't come home, and that narrowed down our team to only 4 people. And I said, hey man, it's time to come home. And the reason I went out there is to gain some money so I can go back to court for my son. Mm-hmm. And that's when actually the first book came out. Like I was like, you know what, I cannot only be the only jackwagon here, the only veteran who's fighting for their children's custody. I can't be. So I was like, you know what, somebody needs to write a tactical manual on it, and I did. And so very fortunate to write that stuff. And then
how's that book done?
So how's that book done? So What I did with that book was I took a non-objective, non-biased approach, right? I said, hey, you're the parent, whether you're married, divorced, it doesn't matter. Here's what you got, right? You have the parent within the perimeter. If you're deployed, try these exercises. What I used to do is 10 to 30 second videos on my iPhone. This is before Snapchat was around. On my iPhone, I'll be like, hey son, I love you, I miss you, I hope you're doing well. Eat your veggies, be helpful to your mother, and make sure you stay in the game. Okay, love you, bye. And I have over 500 videos of these on a hard drive waiting for my son whenever he wants to see them, So that's like one of the chapters. Chapter 2 is about legal battles. Chapter 3 is about checking your boots at the door. Don't ever bring muddy emotions or anything like that to the door. Yeah. And as much as we don't want to, something we don't want to be a team player or be a nice person to a significant other sometimes. And it's just like, check your ego. Like you have a child with somebody else, deal with it. And then there's a small fraction of it, because I went to law school. I understand the legal proceeding of family law. I put a little thing in there in regards to guidance, and I had to be very careful with that, because I can't give everyone legal advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. As much as I want to,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Each person's case is a little bit different. And then came home, but even in that, in 2011, if we rewind the tape a little bit, I saw, well, even more, when in Iraq, I saw this staff sergeant doing digital forensics, getting text messages, cell phone numbers, pictures, and geotags from cell phones and computers from the houses we raided. And I was like, man, that's going to hit the general consumer market at some point in America, and I got to be on the forefront. Usually in consumer products, like if it goes to the military first, then it goes to the general public.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. So then I saw it go past 2011. I was like, I'm going to go to law school. I don't know why. I have a great, brilliant idea. Sure, why not? And then I decided to start my digital forensics firm when I met a dude from the FBI in San Diego. And the amount of money that I was like, dude, I can make more money doing this versus being an attorney. So I just rode that wagon for a long time. And now I'm one of 4 digital forensics firms here in the Western Hemisphere, Arizona, or of the US. And usually we work some high profile cases.
That's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
how much of your stuff with your dealing with your custody inspired you to go to law school?
I want to say about 60%. I was like, man, I want to know what's the deal here, because I had some sort of emotional investment, emotional attachment in that. So I started putting some understanding behind it and working my own case. I was like, man, I could do this. I'm working my own case. I could be an attorney by myself.
Right.
For as much money as I'm paying this person, shit, I got this. And then I applied to law school. I was awarded a Wounded Warrior Scholarship. I was like, sweet, no problem. I don't have to pay for this shit. Went, and then I actually wound up going to financial services and criminology and financial sector.
Okay.
You would be very surprised how indicative behavior can connotate whether you are doing criminal activity or not. How many times your bank account is being reviewed by somebody at your bank of like, hey, is this indicative behavior? It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Well, like every once in a while, like I'll go on vacation and get that alert from my bank, like, hey, is this you? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's a 3-pass fold, right? So chances are they call you only once every 12 times they've done it. So, and they do it all the time. And the algorithm picks up how much you're transferring. If you ever want to get wicked with it and you got a lot, got some cash on your hand, transfer $4,900 within 4 hours of each other and $12,000 total for the day, and see who calls you.
Right.
That's a good little exercise.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
Yeah. And then, after starting up these businesses and whatnot, obviously you stay in fitness and you get in PT and whatnot. And I'm noticing I'm starting to hang around with a lot of, at the time, CrossFit gyms. I don't know why, but I started going to these gyms and I met some of these owners and of other owners, and they're like, man, you know what? I need some help kind of organizing. I realized that we as veterans are really good at starting shit, but really sometimes bad at organizing shit.
Oh yeah, man.
So I just did what I basically created a training schedule. I was like, all right, Monday through Friday, X, Y, and Z needs to happen. Bill counter needs to come over here. Process payments this day. Instagram this day. Blah, just shit like that. And doing what, staff NCOs do best, just get shit going. And I remember one gym couldn't pay me. So I was like, I just take equity in the gym. And then that gym folded. I got my cut. And then I did another gym, kind of the same thing, but they need infusion of cash. And then I did another gym, and I was like, man, I'm actually pretty decent at this. And then as I met all these these gym owners, I met bar owners, and that's when I started getting the bar business just a little bit. It's been interesting this far.
Now you are, so bars and gyms, they do, it's like they do go hand in hand, but yet they don't, you know what I mean?
They shouldn't.
Right. They shouldn't. Right. But a lot of times they do. So serial entrepreneurship was now your first real entrepreneurial type thing was the forensic data, right?
Yeah. The forensics firm go ahead.
And you still own that company?
Yes.
Okay.
I do actually. So We scaled up anywhere from like myself. I remember I was renting a room out in Chandler, Arizona, in somebody's house, and I had hung my own banner, and this was just printed off a color printer, little, was it 12 by 12 or 12 by 8?
Right.
And I said Fortitude Tech, and I told them, and it was me. There I am. And
hell yeah, you got business.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like you do that, you got business cards and a Facebook page, and you're all set.
I'm good.
You don't even need a website anymore.
Exactly. So I was like, so I sat there for a week. I'm like, why is nobody calling me? I was like, oh no shit, I got to go there and do sales. And there I am, actually picking up the phone, call an attorney and try to sell an attorney, or better yet, a private investigator. And the first questions they always ask you is, how the hell did you get my number? I'm like, well, here I am.
I'm a resourceful guy. See, digital forensics. I can pull your number out, so that should mean that you hire me. So
exactly. And then even explaining, so selling water to someone is pretty easy. Hey, you need water, blah blah, demand, need, right?
Right.
Explaining a non-tangible digital forensics, to no offense, to a guy who more than likely who was a beat cop for X amount of years, or did 31 years in the infantry, was like, I'm just gonna be a PI, which is nothing wrong. But explaining something this sophisticated to a general person, I was like, hi, I have quantum physics here. Do you want to buy? So
right, you got to figure that out, right? So that's part of the deal. It's one of those things, and this is a good point. This is a good lesson. With products, you've got to have a customer for them. And if you don't, or if you don't know how to reach that customer, what are you doing starting a business, right? So,
right, exactly.
Or how do you overcome that, finding those customers? So how did you overcome the barriers language wise, and then and understanding wise, and then get it so it is what it is? How'd you get it to where it's at now?
So one was actually defining who the hell my customers were. At first, I was actually Googling and also going on the county's website and punching high profile cases and see who did last week's murder. And I was calling the people who were in jail, or I'd actually go down to the jail and say, hey, can I talk to so-and-so? And I realized the person who had done the crime or murder or whatever it was, first of all, they're in jail. They don't have no fucking money. And then second of all, I was targeting the wrong person. I should have been targeting the attorney. I should have been targeting the PI. So that's why I just started defining that. And then that helped me define my process and product. Unless you're an intellectual property attorney or like an intelligence attorney, chances are you're an old school attorney, like, brick and mortar family law, and you don't want to hear all this technology shit. So I actually had to bring it to them and go back into my law school days and say, hey, this is part of your evidentiary discovery phase. And they're like, oh, now you're talking my language.
Now you're talking my language, right? So law school did make sense for you.
A little bit, yeah.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, a $300,000 education, and I can explain something in 5 minutes. Absolutely.
Totally worth it.
Yeah. If I can make a recommendation to anyone, please don't go to law school.
Right. Unless you want to be unless you actually want to be a lawyer.
Yeah, and even at that, like, you question your moral compass at that point.
Right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I have a friend who I just interviewed for the show that is I guess his specialty is trademarks stuff. Right.
Okay.
So he's out in California, so he'll probably get a kick out of that. He's like, I don't know, man. He loves it though. So, but trademark stuff is a little different. You're either built for it or you're not, though. So
right. So like trademark, you're serving a purpose, you're serving a client.
Right.
So I hate saying this, but a lot of when I first started out, a lot of my stuff was defense. And yeah, and you're defending some pretty nasty motherfuckers.
Kind of selling your soul a little bit, right?
Well, there are things I had to do in order for me to pay the bills and eat.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the best, but at the same aspect, now I'm to the point where I'm like, hey, I'm not taking that case. I'm not doing that case. I don't work with this group or whatever. So it's you got to eat shit a little bit in order for you to get going.
Of course. Everything, right?
Exactly. It's a different type of shit. Yeah. But yeah, without a doubt, I mean, even if you're doing car sales, I remember doing that. You're out there pounding the phones.
Yeah, man. I sold Hyundais
Oh, love it.
for a little while, and that was brutality. So there's no other way to describe it. I mean, you can make a lot of money, but damn, man. I mean, just brutal. So now you've moved on. You've got a couple different businesses. You're still, always on the hunt for stuff to either invest in or whatnot. What are you doing now? Like, what's your new thing besides authoring books?
Besides writing thousands of books at
Right, exactly. What
I
have
have
you
nothing else to do. None whatsoever. My day life sucks. No, so what I want to do is, so The Rise of the Vetrepreneur, I wrote that to, one, to shed light on entrepreneurship, two, to be a historian because nobody's capturing the fucking journey, and three, I am so sick and tired of hearing, oh, buy my course or be in this secret sauce. And it's like, no.
Shit, that's awesome.
Here's a fucking blueprint. Here's what's to make it happen. Let's make it happen, right?
Right.
Phase 2 now of the Rise of Vetrepreneur, this is going to be called the Way of the Vetrepreneur, is where I'm actually going to go and sit. I'm going to fly out to each individual person that I connect with, fly out there with them, either work out with them, go shooting with them, have a cup of coffee. I would love to drink bourbon, but unfortunately I stopped drinking. And sit there with them, and I want to capture this journey. I want to know, at what point did you say my back is against the wall and I have to eat shit? I have to do this.
Yeah, right.
And so that's the next phase 2. And then phase 3 will actually is creating a short film of this and or pitching it to the military channel.
Okay.
That's the idea.
Cool. I love it.
And then there's other projects that I got going on. But we're keeping those on low key for the moment.
Got you. So talk to me about advocacy work that you've been doing.
Yeah. So in 2012, in between law school and whatnot, I obviously have to eat. So I took a job as a veteran suicide counselor. So I was like, cool, I'm in there. I'm helping veterans out and not commit suicide, advocate for them on their behalf. In the process, someone's like, hey man, you're in law school and you know law, so you must be a lawyer already. Why not? And they're like, you should help
practice, right?
Yeah, hey, you private, come here, you look good, let's go. So I was like, all right, cool. I linked up with this general over here in Phoenix, Arizona, and he's like, you're gonna help me start up veteran court. And so we helped. Every Friday morning we'll sit there and look at the weekly docket, and people who've been identified as veterans, one, will verify you, and two, we would, as a team huddle, mind you, this is all for free, the veteran court and the team huddle, which consisted of a regional behavioral health authority, like Magellan or something like that.
Yep.
And the VA would come in, the HUD bash.
You'd get the veteran justice outreach would get involved and all that, right?
Yep. Yeah. And then we would all sit there at fucking 5 a.m. on Friday morning. Hey, who's got this guy? Who's got this guy? And then we would have court. Yeah.
I love that work. I used to. I'm not saying I do now, but I did it. I did it in Delaware and Southern New Jersey. And I worked with Veteran Justice Outreach in, 6 different veterans courts. And it was awesome. Some of the most fulfilling work I've done.
Yeah. It was, I think it was one of the best work ever. I can put my name to it because I helped stand up a few other things. I actually became a local politician because of that. They don't tell anyone. So I was a commissioner here in Scottsdale, Arizona for a little bit. And my community was veteran court and also the LGTB.
Got you.
Yeah. So that was it was fun. And
so like the veteran LGTB community?
Yeah,
as well?
Yeah, that's it.
Or both?
Yeah, because both. I mean, I can't really. It's called inclusion. I can't really isolate one demographic or another.
Right.
But what wind up happening just by its own naturality is the LGTB veterans would come out and be like, "Hey, I need assistance here," and I'm like, "You got it, no problem. I'll be your voice to the mayor." and that's what I did for them.
That's cool. Yeah, man, that's something that you don't hear a lot about, you know?
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of underserved, underprivileged, and underserved demographics, and I believe that's one of them.
I would agree. I would concur.
Yeah, yeah.
I work with a couple guys and now, and yeah, man, it's good work. I mean, because they were veterans too. They got a voice. I mean, they're people, humans. Then give me a break.
Exactly. And you do whatever you want. Don't care. I love you either way as long as you fight beside me. That's really
counts. For sure. Yeah. Race, religion, creed, all that shit. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. At the end of the day, none of it gives a shit.
Yeah, just be a good fucking human being. Just be a good
exactly. Man, you should hear me. I freaking, if you listen to any of my other podcasts, and that's my shit. I preach the hell out of it. I'm like, you know what the hell's wrong with everything? The solution is we just need to be better humans.
Yeah.
Like, knock it off. It's that simple. It really is that simple. I mean, it's easy, but it's not simple. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But it's easy, but it's not simple. But it's just kind of frankly, it comes down to ignorance and people not being educated about what stuff means and what stuff actually is. You know, it's fear and ignorance, and the easier and the faster we can break those walls down, the faster shit goes. So.
True, man. I think it's of selfishness. If you could be a little bit selfless, and just put somebody else's needs before yours, 10-15 minutes. That's all it takes, man.
Yeah, man. True.
I did that over the weekend. Somebody was broke down on the road between Shea Road and Scottsdale, and I just pulled my truck up behind him. It was a little family, and I started pushing, and I realized I'm really out of shape. And I was like, you know what? I have a truck. I can push this shit, no problem.
Right.
But now my Toyota Tacoma is kind of scuffed up, but it's all right though.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Shit. I need you to get me back in shape. My fat ass is freaking dying over here.
Oh.
It's bad. It's bad. I like hot dogs too much.
Hey man, I'm right there with you. I love junk food, but I actually recently just had esophagus surgery over the weekend. Oh, that shit hurts, man.
Dude, so what's that? Talk to us about that. What the hell happened there?
You're pretty much deep throating the camera for about an hour.
Oh,
and that's it. I wish they would have recorded that just for my humorical value.
Right. Put that shit on you. Put that shit on YouTube.
That shit will go viral real quick.
Oh man.
I think the last 2 months, like I dropped, I want to say 45 pounds. I'm like, what's going on with me? Is it my testosterone? Is it this? Is it that? And I realized I just couldn't eat because my Schottky ring inside my esophagus was closed. And that means you can only eat a certain amount. So I would eat 1 or 2 bites of a meal, and then all of a sudden I couldn't eat, or I couldn't breathe. I was like, oh shit. So I didn't work out for 2 months. And mind you, I'm a big boy as is, and I can't work out, I can't eat, I can't barely breathe. So what happens? You naturally get kind of out of shape.
Yeah. It doesn't take long. Once you stop, it's over. This shit's over. Like I was working out for, I got back in the gym. Yeah. Well, look, right around the first of the year. Like it was a New Year's resolution or some bullshit like that, right?
Gym owners, right?
And then the next thing you know, I stopped because life gets in the way, right?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, boom, I'm back to where I started. Shit sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It's just gotta be a priority, and that, I've got 4 daughters, so karma's a vengeful bitch, and it's all excuses, but they sound good, right? A little bit.
They're great. I like these
great excuses of why I can't do that shit and eat right and go to the gym, but I have to make it a priority, and God, I'm getting too old to not do that shit. You know what I mean?
I think this is where I think I made this correlation a long time ago. This is where your motivation just presents itself and leaves, and this is where your discipline kicks in.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta get it in.
The way I correlate is motivation is like, hey honey, good morning. give you a kiss, have a good day, and that's it. And then your
Right.
discipline's like, hey, you know why we're here? Let's get to work.
Right. That's discipline. You're right. It's not
That's
motivation.
No. You think I want to go run
Motivation
5
might get
miles a
your ass
day?
right.
No.
Exactly. It might get your ass out of bed, but it ain't.
Yeah. Half a mile in, you're like, man, this sucks.
This sucks so bad.
My legs hurt. Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm right there with you.
Oh, shit.
People just laugh at me, man. People think I'm the weird one because I still want to run 5 miles. I'm like, I'm running 5 miles so I don't wind up like you. So
right.
That's why. And then they think I'm the asshole.
You're the asshole. Ah, shit. Damn it. I'm so sick of being old and fat, dude. That's just it.
If there only was a pill, like
I need to kick, but I just do. You're right. I just need to get disciplined about it. That's what it is. I have all the knowledge, just like most of us do. I really, truly have all the knowledge. Like I can teach somebody to be thin and eat right and all that shit. I guarantee you I could teach classes on that shit, right? And probably take a nutritionist test and I'd pass, and get licensed and the whole thing. But you think I can institute it on myself? Nope.
Absolutely not.
It's called discipline. You're right. That's totally what it is. So thank you for that, my friend.
I'm glad I made you feel like shit today. You're welcome. I see the military hasn't left me quite yet.
Hasn't left yet. So I want you to give me the lowdown, like complete lowdown on the rise of the Vetrepreneur, fortitude and grit. All right.
Like if you're not gonna ever read it, let me just tell you what's up.
Well, no, I'm gonna read it. I just want you to talk to the people. I give them the pitch. Why do they need to read it?
Absolutely. So if you're at a point and you're like, hey, I need to know, I have no clue what the fuck I'm doing here. Like I'm trying everything, I'm failing. And I just need someone to no bullshit, no nonsense, tell me, am I on the right path? Number one. Number two, what things do I need to do? Where is this fucking blueprint? If a reader can sit there and say that, I can definitely show you. There are some tactical exercises in the book from the owner of Grunt South, from the owners of 18 Series Nutrition and other businesses. And this says, hey, you need to do these things, X, Y, and Z. I pretty much lay out a process and a system in the book of saying, you need to get an accountant, you need to do this, you need to follow this type of LLC, all this other good stuff. I made it pretty fucking simple. And that's why I wrote the book, so people can stop pissing and moaning saying, hey, I don't have a point of reference anymore, because now you have a point of reference. It might not be the best point of reference, but it's a fucking point of reference. And now there's no excuse.
Right. Take away the
excuses. Yeah, and then also on top of that, I wanted to capture, the stories we use from the military, the values. Like I remember this one specific time, I had to build a living situation and dig my foxhole. And I remember living in that foxhole for over 3 months. And I didn't know we were in the middle of a graveyard right outside of Ramadi. And I realized then, if you can build a living situation out of sandbags and your own e-tool, and on top of that, you can live in a gravesite and just eat MREs and piss in bottles and shit like that. Trust me, whatever business you want to do, you can fucking do it.
You can make that shit happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Because if not, you can go back to filling sandbags and tell me how much you like that.
Right. Hell yeah.
So that's kind of the book in a nutshell, broken, if you will.
Right. Got you.
Broken nutshell.
And you've got follow-on work that you're going to do as well, which you've explained already.
Absolutely. I'm going to go out to Fort Lauderdale to meet up Operation Aquatic Freedom and go out there and meet those guys, capture their journey. A bunch of Army guys and Marines. I think one Coastie, not surprisingly.
Token. We have to have the token Coastie.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know if they meant like coaster, like as in koozie for your beer, or like a Coast Guard. I don't know, man, but I'm game.
Right.
I got buy-in from Fieldcraft, those guys. Let me see, American Grains, 18 Series Nutrition. There's like Trident Coffee, which I'm pretty excited about.
Yeah.
I actually tried reaching out to these other named coffee people, and unfortunately their reception is not very received. So I was like, hey, you know what? Time to, there's tons of veterans out
There's like we don't have enough veteran coffee companies.
there. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and start my own t-shirt company now.
Right. That too. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Because why the fuck not?
It's what I always tell people. Like everyone's always complaining. Oh, like we need another t-shirt company or coffee company. Like we need a hole in the head, right? And I'm just like, guys, you got to understand the barrier to entry for both of those is not high, right?
Yeah.
Now, doing it effectively is a whole different story. But you can literally start a t-shirt company online today for free
at no cost. Yeah, at no cost.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys know this, but I also own it's called Amerigum and Amerimints as well. And
yeah.
So I own.
I saw that. I saw that on your. So I was like, hell yeah, give me some of that.
The best one was, if you read the name, I was a patriotic load for your mouth.
Oh, see, I read that and I had to read it again to go, wait a minute. Did he just say that shit?
So I pitched that to a grocery store, right?
Oh,
and they were like, we love your product. I'm like, yeah, right. And then the second thing was, do you mind coming in, like change the logo or the catchphrase to something a little bit more PC? I'm like, no, I can't do that.
I can't.
Patriotic go against everything.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I want the soccer mom to be like, honey, here you go. To her husband, I got a patriotic load for your mouth. I'm like, yes. You're welcome.
You must.
Yes.
Or the husband saying that to the mom.
Even better.
Even
better.
Totally politically incorrect. But oh well. Shit happens. That's what we do on Cigars and Sea Stories. Politically incorrect shit.
Exactly.
So, for sure.
Absolutely.
Ah, man. We've gotten talked to a few times by a few people about it, but we don't really give a shit. We just do what we do, So
right.
And love it. Love doing it. So do me a favor and give the audience an overview of where they can find you, where they can, like the websites, the books, all that stuff, where we can find you.
So if you guys want to get with me on Instagram, usually I'm on Instagram pretty good. I have multiple pages. One is Ricoh_Danielson. And then there's Amerigum. The page is on there. If you guys want to get me on Facebook, Ricoh Danielson as well.
A patriotic hashtag, a patriotic load for your mouth.
If everyone can go to their website right now and Google Ricoh #patriotic load, I will do whatever you want.
That's amazing.
So there's that. Also have a YouTube channel. There for different things. One's for my brand. If you guys want to get a glimpse of the chapters of the book, go to Ricoh Danielson on the Ricoh Danielson channel on YouTube. And actually, there's a bunch of little clips, like 1 to 5 minute clips of the chapter of what my intention was with the chapters. It's pretty good stuff. Check it out.
Awesome. So anything else you want to add?
Just whenever you wake up in the morning, just remember you're an American, you're free, and you have a choice to kick some fucking ass today. Just remember that.
Yeah, man. Go out there and get that shit. Just take it. Right?
Take it. If you could take it, you can have it.
Good Lord. Well, there we have it, folks. Ricoh Danielson, thanks for coming on. I want to thank you, but I also want to thank some sponsors real quick. Hakoa Home Repair Network. Check them out at Hakoa at 5paragraph.com. 5paragraph.com. It works if you work it. Okay, folks. Combat flip-flops. Enter cigars20 to get your 20% off your whole order. Then check out veteranslist.us and get a 50% off your featured membership by using discount code Cigars and C's. Again, veteranslist.us. Good stuff. Will Amos doing awesome stuff. Spartan Media, owned by Jeremy Knopf, veteran owned and operated. Spartan Media, if you need a website made or some digital marketing stuff done, check them out. And we are proud members of Heroes Media Group, a broadcasting platform dedicated to providing a voice for our community heroes and those who support them. The group is dedicated to providing education and entertainment, and they have a ton of different awesome podcasts, including ours. So check them out. So again, thank you, Ricoh, for coming in, and we'll be in touch, my friend. And
absolutely, on that note, thank you.
Yeah, and on that note, we cue the music.